Well, good afternoon, everyone, or maybe good morning or evening, depending where you're joining us from. Welcome here to the Launchpad and our live launch coverage of a very exciting mission, the return of OneWeb. OneWeb launch number 14 with their first launch with the Indian Space Research Organization launching out of India. OneWeb getting back to it after many months of delays after losing the ability to launch with the Soyuz after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Excited to see them getting back to it. But if it's your first time here, welcome here at the Launchpad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together. And as we get started, take a moment, let us know in the chat where you're watching from and make sure you've engaged that like button. We're just waiting for both OneWeb and the ISRO to get underway, and we'll bring you live feeds of the pad as we count down now 36 minutes and counting until liftoff of today's mission, carrying 36 more OneWeb satellites into orbit. The constellation in total will have about 648 satellites, of which 60 of those will be spares. So they're getting well into that, with this being their 14th mission, and excited to see another one here. Now, if you've been following us on our social medias, we had a kind of a big announcement yesterday. We're super excited that TLP Network, the Launchpad Network, is now live. Head over to tlpnetwork.com, and that's where you can get full mission briefings, launch calendars. It's a space news network. We've got a full database and tracker center coming up online as well. We've got tons of stuff on there and so much more coming out between now and the new year. But the thing we want you to go check out is our new mission briefings. There's something we're really excited about. We're going to drop the link in the chat there. Thanks, Stella, for doing that. And that is where you can head and see every launch globally that is coming up. And if we're going to live stream it, we're going to have a link in there for you guys to find it. We're going to have full detailed mission briefings for every launch. And what you're seeing now on a mission briefing is just the start. We're working on a big expansion for those with more detailed information about the rockets, the engines, the fuels, the payloads, and of course the statistics. We always like to get into those. Today is launch attempt number 150 for 2022 of any agency. It is the fourth launch for ISRO this year and the second launch from this launch pad. And really interesting stats that we're looking at. We're also looking at all-time launches, and today's launch is launch 6,499 of any launch in history. 78th launch for the ISRO and the 22nd launch from this pad. So definitely take some time, check out that feed, make sure you bookmark it for the launch calendar so you never miss another launch. And if you're interested in possibly joining the TLP team, we do have openings to help on our data team as well as on our news team, and there's applications on the website for you to be able to join that. We just asked 16 plus. You can be anywhere in the world, and we'd love to invite some of you to join the TLP crew to help us continue to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow. We're thrilled that that site is now up, and even more exciting, it's not just a website. There is an app coming. We promise it'll be coming out in just a few weeks. We're working on final works of the app as well, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But yeah, we're super excited that it's finally out and live, and we can talk about it. We've been doing live streams for weeks, looking at the mission briefings, so we're excited to you guys now finally get to see it. Today's launch vehicle is the GSLV MK III. It's a geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mark III. It's a 3-stage medium-lift launch vehicle developed by the Indian Space Research Organization. It's designed to launch satellites into geostationary orbit and is intended to launch vehicles for crewed missions under the Indian Human Spaceflight Program in the future. So we're excited to see another one of these rockets launch today. A little bit more about today's mission from the ISRO. This is the first commercial mission for this rocket. It's also the first multi-satellite mission with 36 OneWeb satellites on board. Previously, they were not able to get that many on a Soyuz. It's the first launch of the GSLV MK III into low Earth orbit. It's the first Indian rocket launch with a 6-ton payload, and it's of course the first mission with OneWeb and India as well. So lots of firsts for India as they really start to bring their space agency online as we continue to count down towards 32 minutes and counting. Just waiting for them to go online. The moment we have a live feed, I promise we will patch it in so you can see a live look at the pad and listen into mission control as we go through the remainder of today's count. If it's your first time here, though, take a moment, engage that like button, and subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage, space briefing, space news update, or exclusive one-on-one interview. I know we got people all over the world tuning in. It's great to have you here. You can let us know in the chat where you're watching from. We'll give some shout outs there. We got Lightning Jacks in Poland, Fairgrounds in England. We got a bunch of India people here. It's great to have you all joining us. We got Lithuania, North Carolina, we got Michigan, Maryland, Texas, Canada, Vancouver, Dubai, Lancaster in the UK. Great to have you all here. We got Germany as well, Bangladesh. Great to have you all joining us here. Excited to bring you another launch coverage. Been a little quiet, but let's start to listen back into mission control. Now, obviously not everything will be perfectly in English. We are going to be doing our best to patch in and out while we do hear the English translations for today's mission, but there is a live view of the second launch pad at the Satish Dhawan Space Center in India as we count down now 30 minutes, 50 seconds, and counting until launch. You're looking at live views inside the ISRO mission control room where teams are continuing through today's count and going into some go, no-goes of the sequence. There is the GSLV with 36 OneWeb satellites on board. If you guys have questions throughout today's stream, you can send those to us in the chat by tagging us at the Launchpad, and we'll work on answering those live throughout today's stream as we count down the last 30 minutes or so until launch. Also, today is a double launch day, so we hope you'll stay with us because right after we have a launch of a Soyuz launching the GoNets M33, 34, and 35 satellites. It's an instantaneous launch window, so we are keeping a close eye on that, but we will be live for that shortly after today's OneWeb launch stream concludes. Let's listen in to Mission Control.
Of LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission from the Mission Control Center. I am Madhuri, bringing to you the commentary for the launch. You're watching it live on DD National. Live telecast is also available on ISRO website, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission about to be launched from the second launch pad of Satish Dhawan Space Center, Shar, Sriharikota, the only spaceport of India located in the southern state of Andhra Pradesh on the eastern coast. The launch will take place at the Indian Standard Time of 7 minutes and 40 seconds past midnight on 23rd October 2022. This will be the first commercial launch for the geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle Mark III, abbreviated as LVM3, to carry 36 numbers of satellites belonging to Messrs. Network Access Associates Limited UK or Messrs. OneWeb through the commercial arm of ISRO, New Space India Limited. The OneWeb satellites are intended to provide LEO-based broadband services for commercial usage. Cumulative payload mass of the satellites is 5,834.4 kg. Let me also intimate the viewers that the payload capacity of LVM3 into the low Earth orbit is 8,000 kg. 36 satellites will be placed in 601 kilometers altitude with 87.4 degrees inclination in batches of 4 satellites simultaneously. Up next is the brief informative video for the mission.
Go ahead. Activity 391. Charging up via hydraulic accumulator commenced and health sector normal. T1 can they turn the pulsars? Pulsar on.
And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the Launchpad and our live launch coverage of OneWeb14 with their first launch out of India with the ISRO. You're seeing some kind of B-roll as they prepared for today's launch over the last couple of months for a very historic mission, the first commercial mission of the GSLV for the ISRO with 36 OneWeb satellites on board from the second launch pad. Internally, they're calling it the LVM3, but it is the SLV3 rocket. So that's why we're calling it that. But it's OneWeb14. It's the 14th launch in the OneWeb launch constellation. I saw a couple questions coming in. What is OneWeb? OneWeb is very similar to Starlink. It is an internet communications constellation up in low Earth orbit. It's at a much higher orbit, so they need a lot less satellites needed.
Space activities of this country, the launch of GSLV Mark III, the LVM3, OneWeb1 mission happening from Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota. This is the first ever commercial launch of the new rocket LVM3. And we are very happy to have our customers, OneWeb, having their 36 satellites ready to be deployed in this mission.
Well, it's truly a red letter day today for India, for NCL, ISRO, and importantly for OneWeb. As we embark upon the 14th launch of OneWeb, which will inject 36 new satellites into the orbit, this becomes a very special moment for all of us. I am therefore very glad that today we are lifting off one of the most important missions from India on a GSLV Mark III rocket, India's heavy lift rocket, which will take 36 satellites to the low Earth orbit.
It will place 36 satellites in a low Earth orbit, increasing the OneWeb fleet to 464. Further launches in 2023 will complete the constellation. The satellites will be arranged in 12 rings, with 49 satellites in each plane. Each satellite will complete a full trip around the Earth every 109 minutes, while the Earth will be rotating underneath satellites. The satellites will always be flying over new locations on the ground. OneWeb's mission is to deliver global connectivity services, and with this launch, OneWeb will be one step closer to offering its high-speed, low-latency services to connect governments, businesses, and communities around the world. OneWeb has partnered with New Space India Limited, NCL, the commercial arm of Indian Space Research Organization, for this launch.
Today's launch of LVM3 M2 mission is extremely significant milestone for New Space India Limited, as it would open up the big global commercial launch service market for this heavy lift launcher, especially in the context when many operators world over are looking to build LEO satellites as part of constellation for meeting global communication needs. This effort of New Space India Limited would go a long way in enhancing India's market share in the global space economy.
LVM3 has established itself as a reliable launch vehicle of ISRO. In the past few days, ISRO has been diligently making the vehicle launch ready for this flight. LVM3 M2 will for the first time launch multiple satellites into low Earth orbit and has the heaviest payload mass till date. With this launch, LVM3 will mark entry into the international commercial service market and reach new heights.
Roger.
अभी अभी आपने संक्षिप्त वीडियो में देखा सेक्रेटरी डीओएस, चेयरमैन भारतीय मित्तल ग्रुप तथा सीएमडी एनएसआईएल ने इस मिशन के महत्व के बारे में हमें बताया। LVM3 लॉन्च व्हीकल मार्क III की कुल 4 उड़ानें हो चुकी हैं और यह सभी उड़ानें सफल रही हैं। दिसंबर 2014 को GSLV Mark III केयर मिशन से शुरुआत करते हुए GSLV ने अपने विकासशील मिशन D1, D2 में सफलता प्राप्त की और उच्च भार को अंतरिक्ष तक ले जाने का प्रदर्शन किया। फिर 22 जुलाई 2019 को भारत का गौरवपूर्ण चंद्रयान 2 भी GSLV Mark III की सफलतापूर्वक प्रमोशन से किया गया। आज इस कड़ी में एक नया मील का पत्थर साबित होने जा रहा है। इसरो के सभी केंद्रों से वैज्ञानिक अभियंताओं के योगदान से तैयार यह प्रमोशन यान पूर्णतः सज्ज है OneWeb इंडिया 1 मिशन को पूरा करने के लिए। इस लॉन्च की उल्टी गिनती ठीक 24 घंटे पूर्व प्रारंभ हो चुकी है। इस दौरान यान को पावर ऑन कर सभी स्वास्थ्य जांच पूरे किए जा चुके हैं। तरल नोदक के भराव की स्थिति प्राप्त कर भराव किया जा चुका है। बैटरी का आवेशन, सभी ट्रैकिंग स्टेशन के संचार जांच, मिशन कंप्यूटर, वास्तविक समय तंत्र, एकॉस्टिक सप्रेशन सिस्टम, गायरो पैकेजेस आदि की जांच पूरी की जा चुकी है। अब कुछ अंतिम जांचों के पश्चात यान निदेशक ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस को शुरू करेंगे।
At T-21 minutes, no confirmation is needed to control.
The countdown for the LVM-3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission is 24 hours long and has begun at midnight on 22nd of October 2022. Typically during the countdown, the liquid propellants are serviced into the stages. The gas bottles for command and pressurization are charged to the requisite pressure. The avionics systems are subjected to checks. Critical ground systems are subjected to health checks. All these activities are currently in progress at the launch complex.
Roger.
We are about 21 minutes from the launch time.
Minus 21 minutes. Request all stations change over to channel 2.
ROD, Roger. QA to ROD. All range instrumentation systems are ready for LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission launch. ROD, Roger.
Number 428. 428 completed.
Real-time networks are ready for the launch of LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission. ALC node, PIU in ALS mode. ROD, Roger.
RSO to ROD. Range safety systems are ready for the launch of LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission.
Telemetry can start storage. ROD, Roger. CNC to TTC Director. All stack elements are ready to support the launch of LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission.
TTC Director, Roger.
Minus 20 minutes.
Storage started at LCC. Storage started at VLCC.
Normal L110 stage is cleared for LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission.
Cryo Chief confirms normalcy of C25 stage.
Control to note, event number 447 completed.
The mission executives are conveying the readiness of their respective systems.
This is Vehicle Director. Based on the vehicle system performance, LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission launch vehicle is ready for launch.
Satellite Director to Mission Director. All satellite and dispenser are ready for launch.
ROD to Mission Director. Range is ready for the launch of LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission.
Roger. TTC Director to Mission Director. Extract TTC stations and network is ready for supporting LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission.
Roger. This is Mission Director. Based on the clearances from Vehicle Director, Satellite Director, Range Operations Director, TTC Director, the LVM3 M2 OneWeb India 1 mission is authorized.
all stations to note. Mission Director has given authorization for launch.
अभी अभी आपने सुना ट्रैक के निदेशक, उपग्रह निदेशक, यान निदेशक, रेंज निदेशक, टेलीमेट्री ट्रैकिंग एंड कमांड निदेशक, इन सभी ने अपने तंत्रों की सूचना मिशन निदेशक को दे दी और इसके बाद इन सभी तंत्रों को संतोषजनक पाने पर मिशन निदेशक ने ऑटोमेटिक लॉन्च सीक्वेंस तथा लॉन्च को आगे जाने की अनुमति दे दी है.
You have watched on your screens the mission director clearing the launch and authorizing the start of automatic launch sequence a little while ago. The vehicle is hereafter on the onboard computers. The final parameter verification of the rocket stages takes place. Decisions will be taken by the onboard computers in autonomous mode hereafter.
October, in the early morning of LVM-3 M2 mission from India's spaceport Sriharikota is for launching 36 numbers of OneWeb 10.1 satellites. With this launch, we are entering into the international commercial launch through NCL. This is the first commercial mission for LVM-3 through NCL, and it is our first multi-satellite mission to low Earth orbit. It is also the first launch from India with a 6-ton payload, which is the highest ISRO has done so far.
The nozzle end segment of S200 is assembled with the nozzle and control system elements, and thereafter the middle and head end segments in dedicated assembly towers and shifted on to the mobile launch pedestal for the assembly of igniter and the strap-on nose cone that houses control electronics, and this is being carried out in the solid stage assembly building called SSAB.
S200 मोटर को पूर्ण परिपक्व उत्पादन प्रणाली के साथ सॉलिड मोटर प्रोडक्शन कॉम्प्लेक्स शार द्वारा निर्मित किया जाता है. यह मोटर 3 सेगमेंट से बना होता है. आपने देखा सर्वप्रथम NES को रखा गया, फिर मिडिल सेगमेंट, उसके ऊपर HES सेगमेंट और अंत में इग्नाइटर को एकीकृत किया गया. अब आप देख रहे हैं S200 नोज कोन को S200 के ऊपर में एकीकृत किया जा रहा है. S200 नोज कोन के अंदर वो सभी संबंधित एवियोनिक्स तंत्र उपलब्ध होते हैं जो S200 के स्वास्थ्य जांच तथा कार्य के लिए आवश्यक होते हैं.
SGC SHAR is proud to be part of the first commercial mission of LVM-3 family, which is making its debut into the global commercial launch service market. SGSE is responsible for realizing 2 numbers of S200 solid motor strap-ons for each LVM-3. All the major subsystems were converged at SGSE SHAR, which includes L110 stage, C25 cryo stage and payload fairings, which are all assembled in a seamless manner. The entire operation of 36 numbers of OneWeb satellite to dispenser and payload adapter were carried out in a record time without compromising any of the quality, reliability and safety measures, and were done in a qualified clean room. SGSE SHAR provided the requisite mechanical, electrical and checkout interfaces and verified the same. Integration of the LVM-3 M2 vehicle by stacking the stages were carried out in SSAB and VAB facilities and moved to launch pad on 15th October 2022. During the entire launch campaign, there was no anomalies. In the meantime, the range system involving radar, telecommand, MOTR, ground station, communication, vehicle surveillance, CCTV subsystems were verified along with real-time networks, mission computers, meteorology, range and ground safety systems. We are glad to note all the range systems are ready to provide the support for liftoff.
That's the L110 core stage being prepared in a specialized facility horizontally, and it will be moved to SSAB for tilting and precise assembly between the two S200 motors.
यहाँ आप देख रहे हैं L110 स्टेज पूरी तरह तैयार तथा परीक्षण पूर्ण होकर आईपीआरसी महेंद्रगिरी द्वारा शार लाया जाता है और शार में आगे के परीक्षण तथा एकीकरण कार्यक्रम जारी किए जाते हैं। आप देख रहे हैं दो नोजल हैं या दो विकास इंजन के नोजल हैं पूर्णतः तैयार L110 स्टेज।
The forthcoming launch is the 5th mission in the success saga of LVM-3. LVM-3 is being human rated for the human spaceflight mission, Gaganyaan, and as part of human rating of LVM-3, more confidence building tests of all propulsion systems, including L100, S200 and cryo stages have been conducted successfully. This has added more confidence into the vehicle system performance and also proved the robustness of the vehicle systems. The all-up mass of OneWeb India satellites with the dispenser is 5.8 ton and there are 36 satellites each weighing about 145 kg. The vehicle lift-off mass is nearly 643 tons. The upcoming mission is a unique one which demands separation of all 36 satellites into 600 kilometer orbit, and the separation has to be sequenced in such a way that the customer requirement of minimum 137 meter distance between any pair of satellite is met. This is achieved by orienting and reorienting the cryo stage using the onboard thrusters. The total mission duration from takeoff to last satellite separation is more than 5,500 seconds or about 91 minutes. In order to be compatible with the customer satellite dispenser interface, the payload adapter was modified and a new PLA was realized.
Assembled launch vehicle is then moved from the low bay solid stage assembly building to the high bay vehicle assembly building for assembly of upper stages and encapsulated assembly.
S200 और L110 को समायोजित कर व्हीकल असेंबली बिल्डिंग लाया गया।
Propulsion complex have realized and delivered the L110 and C25 stages for this vehicle. L110 stage is the liquid stage with 110 tons of UH25 and N2O4 propellant combination powered by twin Vigas engines delivering 160 tons of thrust. This stage function is managed by 69 fluid control components and modules. The C25 cryogenic stage is fully indigenously developed with LH2 and large propellant loading of 28 tons and is powered by a 19-ton thrust CE20 cryogenic engine operating on gas generator cycle. For this mission, C25 stage alone adds a velocity of 14,800 km per hour, which is 54% of the total incremental velocity required for this mission. This mission is a very complex mission. After C25 stage shutdown, we have to separate all 36 satellites in various locations. For this purpose, unlike in earlier missions, C25 stage has to operate for 4,500 seconds after the C25 engine shutdown. The mission management and maneuver is done utilizing residual propellant and gases from the propellant tanks. Extensive fluid flow and thermal studies are carried out to understand the fluid behavior and propellant evaporation under micro-G conditions. To accomplish this mission, elaborate mission simulation studies are carried out and necessary improvements have been done in the vehicle and mission management systems.
That's the C25 moving to VAB for assembly.
अब क्रयो चरण को पूर्ण परीक्षण कर VAB लाया जाता है। यह तीसरा चरण है LVM3 का। इसे VAB लाकर L110 स्टेज के ऊपर में सावधानी पूर्वक समायोजित कर दिया जाता है।
In the OneWeb India mission, the LVM3 launch vehicle is equipped with an autonomous inertial navigation system. This system is designed with ISRO ring laser gyroscope and ceramic servo accelerometers. The unique feature of this mission is the long duration in order to accomplish separation of 36 satellites in this mission. The almost 1.5 hours it takes from the launch to the achieving the final goal, and as well as passivation of the upper stage. Another very unique feature is the precision injection of each satellite such that they don't collide during separation. Not only to collide during separation, but also maintain the separation in the long term also. This calls for certain maneuvers as well as pointing of the launch vehicle, as well as add certain incremental velocity between satellite separation. So this need to be done in a very precise manner, and for this the laser gyros are equipped, or they have the capability to measure arc seconds, that is 1/3600 of a degree, as well as micro g, that is 1/1,000,000th of acceleration due to gravity. Also we have NAVIC based GNSS aided navigation system, so that the preliminary orbit determination can be carried out and the POD can be made available to the customer.
Here's the equipment B. Prepared satellites assembled to the satellite dispenser and encapsulated assembly with payload fairing in the SPF2.
Equipment B में जिसमें यान से संबंधित सभी एवियोनिक्स पैकेज होते हैं उसे समायोजित कर दिया गया। उसके पश्चात अंतिम में सभी उपग्रहों को समायोजित कर ऊष्मा कवच के अंदर सुरक्षित कर VAB लाया जाता है। यान अपने पूर्ण स्वरूप में VAB से UT की यात्रा करता हुआ यह व्हीकल असेंबली बिल्डिंग से उम्बिलिकल टावर तक।
And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad and our live launch coverage of OneWeb14, the historic kind of return to launch of OneWeb satellites, launching for the first time out of India with the Indian Space Research Organization, or ISRO, on the GSLV MK III rocket out of the Satish Dhawan Space Center in India. This is the first commercial launch of the GSLV MK III for the ISRO, so very big launch for both the ISRO and for OneWeb. We've been listening into the ISRO official feeds here, listening into their mission control as we've counted down the last 25 minutes, and we are now just 5 minutes, 35 seconds and counting away from launch of today's mission, launching 36 more OneWeb satellites into low Earth orbit. If it's your first time here, though, welcome here at the launch pad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together. And if you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that like and subscribe button so you never miss another live launch coverage, and never miss knowing when a launch is going to come up by clicking that pinned link in the chat there. We are so excited to have launched the Launchpad Network yesterday's website. The app's coming out in a couple of weeks, but there in launch control, you can see every upcoming launch. You can see all past launches and even easily see what launches have happened on today in history. We got lots more features coming out, including an ISS dashboard, Starbase dashboard. We've got astronaut database, rocket database, tons of stuff coming out. So definitely take some time and check that out. We are looking at live views inside mission control as we enter now just 4 minutes, 40 seconds and counting until launch. We're going to listen back into mission control for the final part of today's countdown. If you haven't yet, take a moment, share out the stream, and let's listen back into ISRO mission control as we count down 4 minutes, 30 seconds and counting until OneWeb's return to flight launch.
While Satish Dhawan Space Center is all set to host its 83rd launch vehicle mission and the second launch pad its 31st mission, this is the 5th time LVM-3 is set to lift off.
Minus 4 minutes.
Start.
LVM-3 पंचम पीढ़ी का प्रमोचक रॉकेट है। यह भीम का रॉकेट पिछले सभी यानों की तुलना में सबसे अधिक विकसित तथा उन्नत अभिकल्पित किया गया है। इसकी ऊंचाई 43.5 मीटर तथा व्यास 4 मीटर का होता है। इसका कुल उत्थापन भार लगभग 640 टन का होता है। यह 3 चरणों वाला प्रमोचक रॉकेट जिसकी क्षमता 4 टन के नितभार को भूतुल्यकाली अंतरण कक्षा में ले जाने की है अथवा 8 टन के नितभार को निम्न भू कक्षा में स्थापित करने की है। इस यान के प्रथम चरण में 200 टन वाले ठोस नोदक S200 स्ट्रेप-ऑन बूस्टर कोर के में लगे L110 चरण जो कि तरल नोदक पर आधारित है उसके साथ संलग्न रहते हैं और ऊपर के चरण में 27 टन के क्रायोजेनिक ईंधन पर आधारित C-20 इंजन वाला C-25 चरण होता है।
The maiden launch of the rocket had carried non-operational cryo stage and experimental payload crew module atmospheric re-entry experiment or CARE. Thereafter, the developmental launches designated as D1 and D2 had carried GSAT class of communication satellites. The first operational launch M1 had Chandrayaan-2 as its payload on 22nd of July 2019. We are about 2 minutes 10 seconds from the launch.
Minus 2 minutes.
इस मिशन का मुख्य उद्देश्य 36 उपग्रहों को जिनका कुल नितभार 5,834 केजी है 601 किलोमीटर की वृत्ताकार निम्न भूकक्षा में 87.4 डिग्री के झुकाव के साथ स्थापित करना है। यह सभी पूर्णतः परीक्षित होकर इस यान में सुरक्षित अपनी कक्षा के लिए सफर करते हुए 4-4 के समूह में 9 बार में अपनी कक्षा में अंतक्षेपित किए जाएंगे। यह पूरा घटनाक्रम लगभग 4,500 सेकंड का होगा।
Minus 1 minute.
LVM-3 being a gigantic rocket, the ignition of twin S200 boosters generates enormous acoustics at the time of liftoff that have the potential to damage the electronics in launch vehicle. As a part of acoustic suppression system, huge quantities of water is injected onto the launch pedestal to provide denser medium of water droplets to attenuate the liftoff acoustics.
Minus 30 seconds.
Real-time programs activated.
Minus 25 seconds.
अब हम 20 सेकंड की दूरी पर प्रमोचन से सर्वप्रथम 2 S200 स्ट्रेप-ऑन बूस्टर का प्रज्वलन होगा।
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
P3 tracking.
P1 tracking. Off normal.
भव्य उत्थापन LVM-3 OneWeb India 1 मिशन का
Normal liftoff and an enchantingly beautiful sight of the twin S200 boosters burning, saluted against the night sky.
मध्य रात्रि को आकाश को रोशन करता हुआ S200 boosters
Performance normal.
यहाँ हम इसके कंपन महसूस कर रहे हैं।
Searing the night sky, the LVM-3 M2 mission moves forward. 25 meters long S200 boosters, each carrying 205 tons of HTPB-based propellant.
Plus 1 minute.
Action time 126.6 seconds. They develop a peak thrust of 5,952 kilonewtons in vacuum.
प्रथम चरण का निष्पादन पूरी तरह सामान्य।
First stage performance normal.
इसका प्रज्वलन काल करीब 130 सेकंड का होगा। S200 के प्रज्वलन काल समाप्त होने से पहले ही L110 जो कि तरल नरोधक पर आधारित चरण है, द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन शुरू कर दिया जाएगा।
L110 stage ignited.
Now we have a confirmation about the ignition of the core L110 stage.
रेंज ऑपरेशन निदेशक ने अभी घोषणा की, तरल नोदक L110 इग्नाइट और S200 स्टेज के बूस्टर्स पृथक कर दिए गए हैं।
The twin S200 boosters have been separated from the ongoing launch vehicle. L110 core stage currently thrusting.
L110 stage performance normal.
This is powered by the Earth storable propellants UH-25 as fuel and N2O4 as oxidizer. The twin Vikas engine powered L110 stage has a nominal burn duration of 200 seconds.
Payload fairing separated.
ऊष्मा कवच को पृथक कर दिया गया है।
Loop guidance initiated.
अब यान 127 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्राप्त कर चुका है तथा घने वातावरण से बाहर जा चुका है, इसलिए ऊष्मा कवच को पृथक कर दिया गया है और अब यान क्लोज लूप गाइडेंस के अंतर्गत है।
Having crossed the dense atmosphere, the payload fairings have been separated and the rocket is currently moving forward in closed loop guidance. L110 currently thrusting.
L110 स्टेज में लगभग 110 टन के UH-25 तथा N2O4 ईंधन के रूप में प्रयोग किए जाते हैं। इनकी मदद से यह चरण 1600 किलोन्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न करता है तथा इसका प्रज्वलन काल 200 सेकंड का होगा।
The L110 carries the rocket to 282.4 kilometers altitude. Shard, Trivandrum and Bangalore ground stations are currently acquiring the trajectory data.
द्वितीय चरण का निष्पादन सामान्य, प्रज्वलन काल के पूर्ण होने तक यह यान को करीब 2082 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई प्रदान कर देगा और 3.3 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड का वेग प्रदान करेगा।
Developing a vacuum thrust of 1598 kilonewtons, this stage empties the entire propellant of 110 tons in 200 seconds, that is close to 550 kg in a second.
Plus 5 minutes.
अगला चरण क्रायो चरण है।
And shut off and separated.
L110 चरण को पृथक कर C25 जो कि तृतीय चरण है उसका प्रज्वलन शुरू हो चुका है और वह सामान्य निष्पादन कर रहा है।
As announced by the Range Operations Director, we now have the confirmation of the successful ignition of the C25 cryogenic stage. Currently the altitude is 333 kilometers.
तृतीय व अंतिम चरण LVM3 का क्रायोजेनिक ईंधन पर आधारित चरण है जो कि LH2 और लॉक्स को ईंधन की तरह उपयोग में लाता है। यह एक जटिल इंजन है C20। इस चरण को C25 चरण कहा जाता है क्योंकि इसमें लगभग 25 टन का क्रायोजेनिक ईंधन होता है। इस चरण का प्रज्वलन L110 चरण के बंद हो जाने के तुरंत बाद कर दिया जाता है। इस चरण में लगभग 650 सेकंड तक प्रज्वलित कर 200 किलो न्यूटन का प्रणोद उत्पन्न किया जाता है, जिससे अंतिम चरण है जो उपग्रहों को उनकी अंतःक्षेपण की कक्षीय स्थितियां प्रदान करता है।
The cryogenic upper stage of LVM-3, called the C-25, carries 27 tons of propellant, liquid hydrogen as fuel, and liquid oxygen as oxidizer. The advantage of using cryogenic stages is their remarkably high specific impulse. For the C-25 stage, it is 4,344.3 Newton second per kg. The total thrust generated is 180 kilonewtons. During the 640 seconds of its operation, there is overlapping visibility from Shar, Trivandrum, Bangalore tracking stations.
यान के सभी स्वास्थ्य जानकारियां हमें भू स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशंस की मदद से यहां प्राप्त होती हैं। इस मिशन के लिए शार, बेंगलोर, त्रिवेंद्रम, शिपबॉर्न ट्रैकिंग स्टेशन, अंटार्कटिका, स्वालबर्ड तथा लखनऊ स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशंस हमें सेवाएं उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। इस समय शार, बेंगलोर तथा त्रिवेंद्रम स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशंस हमें इस यान की पूरी जानकारी उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। तृतीय चरण का निष्पादन पूरी तरह सामान्य। अब हम उत्थापन से 480 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई 500 किलोमीटर, सापेक्ष गति 3.7 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड।
View from the VIP gallery, where you can see former chairman of the ISRO. More than 19 minutes into the flight, the orbital conditions for the injection of satellites will be achieved. On your screens now, founder and chairman of Bharti Enterprises, Shri Sunil Mittal.
Plus 9 minutes.
Now a few words about the OneWeb Gen 1 satellites. OneWeb is a global communications network powered from space, enabling connectivity for governments, businesses and communities. It is implementing a constellation of low Earth orbit satellites. India's Bharti Enterprises serves as a major investor and stakeholder in OneWeb. This is OneWeb's 14th launch and the first with ISRO and NSIL. OneWeb satellites are arranged in 12 orbital planes with 49 satellites in each plane in circular orbit. The constellation will have a total of 648 satellites. Each satellite of OneWeb Gen 1 weighs 150 kg.
Plus 10 minutes.
C-25 तृतीय चरण LVM-3 का सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ और यान पूर्वानुमानित पथ को अनुसरण करता हुआ अपने उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर बढ़ रहा है। वरिष्ठ वैज्ञानिक, चेयरमैन ISRO, अब करीब 200 सेकंड की दूरी पर हम कक्षा की स्थितियां प्राप्त करते ही उपग्रहों को उनकी उद्दिष्ट कक्षा में स्थापित करेंगे।
Cryo stage performance normal.
The pole-to-pole connectivity of this satellite constellation combined with the ground segment ensures better look angles for the signal strength. Unless the conventional geostationary satellites where the signal strength diminishes at high latitude regions. As OneWeb slogan says it all, creating universal connections.
OneWeb इन उपग्रहों को Gen 1 सैटेलाइट्स का नाम दिया है OneWeb एक वैश्विक संचार नेटवर्क है जो कि अंतरिक्ष में अपनी सेवाएं प्रदान करेगा। इस संचार तंत्र से संचार नेटवर्क को सरकार, व्यापार तथा बृहद समुदाय को संचार सेवाएं उपलब्ध होंगी। इसे कार्यान्वित करने के लिए OneWeb के द्वारा एक नक्षत्र मंडल तैयार किया जा रहा है जिसे हम सैटेलाइट कॉन्स्टेलेशन के नाम से जानते हैं। भारत के भारतीय उद्यम OneWeb के मुख्य शेयर होल्डर हैं। यह OneWeb का 14वां लॉन्च है। इसके साथ ही इसरो और NSIL अंतरिक्ष के वैश्विक बाजार में नया अध्याय शुरू करने जा रहे हैं। OneWeb को इस नक्षत्र को पूरा करने के लिए कुल 648 उपग्रहों को प्रक्षेपित करना है। अब हम उड़ान से 750 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई 612 किलोमीटर तथा सापेक्ष गति 5.4 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड। तृतीय चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ और उद्दिष्ट कक्षा की ओर अग्रसर।
As we told you earlier, a set of 4 satellites will be injected in 605.8 kilometers altitude at 19 minutes 45 seconds into the launch.
Cryo stage performance normal.
जैसा कि अभी हमने बताया, यह चरण 650 सेकंड तक प्रज्वलित होगा। इसी अंतिम चरण के प्रज्वलन काल में प्रथम समूह के उपग्रहों को उद्दिष्ट कक्षा में स्थापित किया जाएगा। तत्पश्चात क्रमानुसार उचित अभिवृद्धि प्राप्त कर अन्य समूहों को उनके कक्षा में अंतक्षेपित किया जाएगा। प्रथम 4 उपग्रहों के समूह की उद्दिष्ट कक्षा 602.3 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई तथा सापेक्ष गति 7.54 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड निर्धारित है।
We are about 900 seconds into the launch. The current altitude is 602.8 kilometers and a relative velocity close to 7 kilometers per second.
वर्तमान में शिपबॉर्न टर्मिनल के द्वारा हमें इस ट्रैक के डेटा उपलब्ध कराए जा रहे हैं। अब कुछ ही क्षणों में उपग्रह की अंतक्षेपण की स्थितियां प्राप्त कर ली जाएंगी।
Cryo stage thrust cut off.
रेंज ऑपरेशन निदेशक की अभी घोषणा हुई। तृतीय चरण को बंद कर दिया गया है। अब यह प्राप्त वेग को जारी रखते हुए
+16 minutes.
कक्षा की स्थितियां प्राप्त करेगा।
After the first batch of satellite injection, a second set of 4 satellites will be separated 30 seconds later at almost the same altitude with almost same relative velocity. The third separation event in the satellite injection is scheduled 800 seconds later, that is to say 33 minutes 35 seconds into the flight. Fourth separation occurs 30 seconds later. The third and fourth batch of satellites are injected into 619 kilometers orbit after the cryogenic stage reorients itself appropriately. Until this time, the shipborne tracking terminal and Antarctica ground stations would have completed their range of tracking and the rocket would have gone to the other side of Earth. Next 5 batches will be separated in predetermined timeline like this. 5th batch at 47 minutes 26 seconds into flight, 6th batch at 48 minutes into flight, 7th batch at 61 minutes 16 seconds into flight, 8th batch at 61 minutes 46 seconds into flight, and finally the 9th batch at 75 minutes 6 seconds into the flight. Present.
प्रथम समूह के अंतक्षेपण की स्थितियां प्राप्त की जा चुकी हैं और कुछ ही क्षणों में प्रथम 4 उपग्रह जिनका नाम है 1K, 3K, 5K तथा 7K अंतक्षेपित किए जाएंगे.
The cryogenic stage is reorienting itself for the first batch of satellite separation.
आप यह एनिमेशन देख पा रहे हैं. C25 जो कि तृतीय चरण है LVM3 का, उसे बंद कर दिया गया है तथा थ्रस्टर्स की मदद से इसे उचित अभिवृत्ति प्रदान की जा रही है.
The names of the first batch of satellites are 1K, 3K, 5K and 7K, whose injection we are eagerly awaiting.
प्रथम समूह को सफलतापूर्वक अंतक्षेपित कर दिया गया है. प्रथम 4 1K, 3K, 5K तथा 7K उपग्रह पृथक हो चुके हैं.
We have the confirmation from the Range Operations Director that the first batch of 4 satellites, namely 1K, 3K, 5K and 7K, have been successfully separated.
2A, 4A, 6A, 8A satellites are separated.
And the second batch also have been successfully separated. Their names are 2A, 4A, 6A and 8A.
जी हाँ, द्वितीय समूह 2A, 4A, 6A तथा 8A उपग्रहों को भी सफलतापूर्वक अंतक्षेपित कर दिया गया है. इसके पश्चात C25 तृतीय चरण LVM3 पुनः अभिवृत्ति निश्चित करेगा और अगले 800 सेकंड के पश्चात अगले 4 उपग्रहों के समूहों को अंतक्षेपित करेगा.
Cryostage reorienting itself again for the separation event of the next batch of satellites. The third batch of satellites will be injected into 619 kilometers orbit. The scheduled time of separation is 33 minutes 37.5 seconds into the flight.
तृतीय चरण फिर से अभिवृद्धि नियंत्रित करता हुआ अब हम उड़ान से 1344 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई 608 किलोमीटर तथा सापेक्ष गति 7.538 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड है।
As we await the next separation event for the satellites, let me intimate the viewers that after the separation of third and fourth batches of satellites, the visibility of the launch vehicle is available to the Svalbard tracking station only after another 350 seconds, that is 81 minutes into the flight. It is then that the confirmation of satellite separation is received at the Mission Control Center. The live transmission will be halted while the rocket is out of the tracking range and resume at appropriate time.
इस मिशन का कार्यकाल करीब 4500 सेकंड का है। इस दौरान हमें शिपबॉर्न टर्मिनल की मदद से सभी आंकड़े उपलब्ध हो रहे हैं।
The LVM-3 OneWeb India 1 mission is about to set several firsts, like it's being the first commercial mission of LVM-3 with NSIL. First time ever, LVM-3 is carrying multiple satellites and injecting them in the low Earth orbit. This is the largest ever an Indian rocket is carrying, that is the 6 tons of payload. This gigantic launch vehicle of ISRO, LVM-3, is carrying 6 tons for this mission, which is the aggregate mass of the 36 OneWeb satellites and the satellite dispenser. Speaking about the association, this is the first time that OneWeb has collaborated with New Space India Limited, Department of Space.
आइए इस दौरान आपको OneWeb के बारे में जानकारी देते हैं। OneWeb का ऐतिहासिक लॉन्च कार्यक्रम जारी है। इस मिशन को OneWeb ने लॉन्च 14 का नाम दिया है। लॉन्च 14 सतीश धवन अंतरिक्ष केंद्र से भेजा जा रहा है। इसमें 36 उपग्रहों के समूह को प्रमोचित कर दुनिया का पहला पृथ्वी की निचली कक्षा का नक्षत्र मंडल तैयार किया जा रहा है और यह नक्षत्र 2023 तक हाई स्पीड लो लेटेंसी की संचार सुविधाएं प्रदान करने में सक्षम हो जाएगा। OneWeb ने इस प्रक्षेपण के लिए अंतरिक्ष विभाग की वाणिज्यिक शाखा NSIL के साथ भागीदारी की। इस मिशन में कुल 36 उपग्रहों के समूह के साथ OneWeb की कुल उपग्रहों की संख्या 464 हो जाएगी। 2023 तक यह नक्षत्र मंडल पूरा करने के उद्देश्य से OneWeb इस मिशन में कार्यरत है। OneWeb आम जनता के लिए संचार सुविधाएं प्रदान कर सामर्थ्य, गति विश्वसनीयता तथा डिजिटल साक्षरता के आधार पर विभाजित समाज को जोड़ने की एक मुहिम चला रहा है। सूचना तक दुनिया की पहुंच को बेहतर बनाने के लिए OneWeb का एक मजबूत सामाजिक उद्देश्य है। जैसा कि हमने आपको पहले बताया, यह मिशन कुल 4500 सेकंड का मिशन है, लेकिन उत्थापन से 2200 सेकंड तक यह यान और उपग्रह प्रमोशन को हमारे भू स्टेशन ट्रैक कर सकेंगे। उसके बाद यान अपनी यात्रा जारी रखेगा, लेकिन हमारे ट्रैकिंग क्षेत्र से बाहर चला जाएगा और पुनः संचार स्थापित होने तक हम स्टैंड बाय कंडीशन में रहेंगे। जैसे ही स्वालबर्ड स्थित ट्रैकिंग स्टेशन से संचार स्थापित हो जाएगा, हम बाकी के 20 उपग्रहों के अंतःक्षेपण की पुष्टि कर पाएंगे। प्रथम 16 उपग्रहों के प्रमोशन के पश्चात यह हमारे ट्रैकिंग क्षेत्र से बाहर होगा, इसलिए यह प्रसारण 40 मिनट बाद पुनः जारी किया जाएगा।
This wait takes me back to the reminiscences of the previous launch of LVM-3 carrying the Chandrayaan-2 as its payload. It was India's second mission to the moon. It had comprised a fully indigenous orbiter, lander Vikram and rover Pragyan. Enthusiasm was rife among the scientific fraternity and general public alike for the lander. The challenges for that mission were to carry a heavy payload and inject it precisely in a highly elliptical orbit so that the further orbit-raising maneuvers for Chandrayaan-2 are economical from propellant budget point of view. Follow-on missions to bridge the gap of understanding the lunar ambience are on the anvil for ISRO. There are also several ways for the common public to associate with ISRO and its programs. Apart from watching the launch live on its social media portals and Doordarshan National, viewers can visit SDSC Shar and its launch view gallery, which has a capacity to host 10,000 visitors simultaneously for the launch. ISRO undertakes several outreach activities as a part of World Space Week, which was held between 4th to 10th October.
तृतीय चरण सामान्य निष्पादन करता हुआ पुनः अभिवृत्ति प्राप्त कर रहा है अगले 4 उपग्रह के समूह के प्रमोशन के लिए। अब हम उत्थापन से 30 मिनट 36 सेकंड की दूरी पर आ चुके हैं। यान की ऊंचाई है 616 किलोमीटर तथा सापेक्ष गति 7.53 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड। अगले 4 समूह के उपग्रहों का नाम 1A, 3A, 5A तथा 7A है, जिन्हें 619 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई तथा 7.53 की किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की सापेक्ष गति के साथ अंतःक्षेपित किया जाना है। तृतीय समूह के अंतःक्षेपण के 30 सेकंड के पश्चात चतुर्थ समूह को भी अंतःक्षेपित कर दिया जाएगा।
We are about 2 minutes away from the scheduled separation of the third batch of satellites, namely 1A, 3A, 5A and 7A. 30 seconds later, another batch of 4 satellites, namely 2B, 4B, 6B and 8B are scheduled to be separated. Cryostage reorienting itself to prepare for the next separation event.
यान पूरी तरह सामान्य। वर्तमान में हमें यह आंकड़े अंटार्कटिका स्थित भू स्टेशन से प्राप्त हो रहे हैं।
Current altitude 617 kilometers. The relative velocity of 7.53 kilometers per second.
अगले 8 उपग्रहों के अंतःक्षेपण के पश्चात कुल 16 उपग्रह इस दौरान अंतःक्षेपित कर दिए जाएंगे। उसके पश्चात यह यान अपनी यात्रा जारी रखेगा तथा पृथ्वी की दूसरी ओर चला जाएगा। उस दौरान वह हमारे ट्रैकिंग क्षेत्र से बाहर होगा।
1A, 3A, 5A, 7A are separated.
अभी अभी घोषणा की गई कि अन्य समूह 1A, 3A, 5A तथा 7A सफलतापूर्वक अंतःक्षेपित कर दिए गए हैं। अगली घटना में 2B, 4B, 6B तथा 8B नामक उपग्रहों को अंतःक्षेपित किया जाना है।
Satellites 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B are separated.
Confirmation has been achieved about the separation of
This is Range Operation Director. 16 satellites are separated till now. Mission is continuing. Remaining 20 satellites will separate as per timeline in the non-visibility period. This 20 satellite separation will be confirmed after Svalbard telemetry station acquisition. All stations involved in operations can continue in positions. Others can reassemble at 01:20 hours. Over to Mission Director.
This is Mission Director. The vehicle has reached the orbit and as it is declared, 16 satellites out of 36 satellites were successfully separated and the mission is continuing. We will, as it is informed, we will assemble after the mission activities will continue and we will assemble as declared. I am thanking everybody, those who have participated and those who are witnessing this. The operations will continue. Thank you.
We will assemble back at 1:20 on 23rd of October 2022 so that the confirmation of the remaining separation events is achieved by that time.
जी हाँ, मिशन जारी है। अगले 20 उपग्रहों का अंतःक्षेपण किया जाना है और इनके अंतःक्षेपण की पुष्टि 40 मिनट बाद की जाएगी। तब तक हमारे साथ बने रहिए। हम पुनः उपस्थित होंगे 40 मिनट बाद।
and the OneWeb team for this historic mission tonight. In fact, early morning of 23rd of this month. And happy Diwali to all of you. So we started the celebration already in Satish Dhawan Space Center with the second operational mission of LVM-3 and the very first commercial mission of LVM-3. We have accomplished the orbit very accurately. Now the rocket is in its intended orbit. 16 satellites out of the 36 OneWeb-1 spacecrafts have been already injected. I want to tell you that this is a very slow process of separating the satellites one by one. In fact, it is in sets of 4 it will be separated, and it will take long time. So at this moment, let me tell you that 16 have been separated very safely as we expected, and the remaining 20 satellites will be separating when we are not able to see it from this place. The data will come little later, and the mission operations of observing this separation is continuing, and we will be confirming safe separation of the remaining 20 satellites after that process is completed. I am very hopeful that the remaining 20 satellites will also get separated as safely as that they did for the first of the 16. This mission is a historic mission primarily because this is the very second operational mission of LVM-3 that has gone commercial, and this is an opportunity that LVM-3 is able to do such a wonderful mission today, and this has been possible by the support of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, because he wanted LVM-3 to come into the commercial market with the NSIL in the forefront to operationalize our launch vehicles for exploring the expanding commercial domain that is open in front of us. And congratulations to the entire launch vehicle team for grabbing that opportunity and making it ready today for this historic mission. And I also want to thank the OneWeb team for having confidence in us to host it on LVM-3 for their completion of their fleets. And we are very hopeful that the next mission of LVM-3 will do the same to place the remaining 36 satellites that it has been contracted with NSIL for the next launch of LVM-3 M3 mission. Until then, thank you so much, and I take this opportunity to invite CMD NSIL and come over here and then speak to the public, and also to the mission director, Sri Bhaskar, to have his final say on the mission. Thank you.
Good evening to everyone present here and all the viewers who are seeing this beautiful and extremely remarkable mission that we have achieved today. First of all, I'd like to compliment the team ISRO for giving us such a commendable mission of LVM-3 and the precise performance, and I would say the most complex mission management for the OneWeb mission. I'm extremely delighted to see the beautiful videos of OneWeb, which we just witnessed now, where we are seeing the satellites getting deployed in space almost at an altitude of around 600 kilometers. I'm proud to say, I'm really delighted and honored, GSLV has made the most remarkable entry into the commercial launch service market. Extremely thankful for OneWeb for having faith in us, in our launch and our, I would say, the most professional and technical capability of the team ISRO. I think though today's successful event is significant in many ways to all the 3 major stakeholders of this particular mission, New Space India Limited, Indian Space Research Organization, and also OneWeb India. And the first and foremost thing that comes to our mind is that with this mission, we have shown to the entire world how to contract and execute the mission in less than 3 to 4 months. I would really say And this was made possible only because every one of us had the will to do such a mission in the record possible time which the customer was expecting. I'm extremely thankful. And the kind of synergy NSIL, ISRO and OneWeb has demonstrated through this mission is really, I would say, is remarkable and unbelievable. And today's OneWeb mission, I would say, is the beginning of many more business engagement that NSIL is going to do with OneWeb for further strengthening our relationship between the two organizations. And with the support of ISRO that NSIL always has, I think we can achieve much more better successes and give much better things to the nation here back. So once again, thank you everyone. Thanks Team ISRO OneWeb for the beautiful successful mission, and I'm very sure the next 20 satellites we will hear in the next 30 to 40 minutes the kind of performance it's going to deliver to us. Thank you very much.
Respected Chairman ISRO, Secretary DOS, all the dignitaries of ISRO, OneWeb team, NWEL, customers, center directors, associate directors, deputy directors, mission executives, all the participants, and the honorable VVIP dignitaries of OneWeb and ISRO. A very warm good morning to all of you. I, on behalf of my project team and the entire team ISRO, is very proud to submit this success to Team ISRO. This was a demand given to us by Chairman ISRO to execute this mission in a very short time of less than 3 months. Once the requirement is defined, the entire Team ISRO rose to the occasion, worked with full vigor and systematically as is the wont of ISRO. The entire schedule was success-based and concurrent processing was followed. There was no room for slip, and everything has to be done right at the first time itself. Rigorous activities were complemented with rigorous reviews by both ISRO as well as academia, so that no stone was left unturned and there was no slip. Marathon meetings with our OneWeb customers and NSIL and with volumes of data exchange was an immense process, and it was helping each other. We were very proud that we could deliver what the customers expected from us. Praise and thanks be to the Lord, we, the Team ISRO, has done what was asked by the management to our team. I submit this success, as our chairman told, as Diwali gift to all our Team ISRO. As our chairman told, this is first LVM3 launch for international commercial satellite mission through NSIL to a low Earth orbit carrying about 6-ton payload, the highest launch from our great nation. On this happy occasion, I profusely thank the entire Team ISRO, including the top executives, project executives Mr. Narayanan, Mrs. Asha Mary Matthew, the entire project team, all the review teams, all the entity and the working teams, all the ISRO teams, and all the participating teams. I profusely again thank our NSIL for giving us this opportunity and having a very fruitful, positive and contributing discussions and interactions. It was so efficient, never we had any misunderstanding, and we had marathon meetings almost every day. And I also bring it to inform and thank the customers, our OneWeb, that we were very happy and very satisfied in interacting with you and sharing all mutual things. Until the end, we never had any difference of opinion and we never had any dissatisfaction. This I can honestly say, and we have met all the requirements what the customers are asked. Now, last but not the least, I am thanking the entire family of all the Team ISRO members, those who have toiled and toiled for this mission. Thank you.
So thank you once again, all of you. We are ending the transmission at this moment, but the mission continues. We are waiting for the confirmation of the remaining satellite separation, and all mission executives will occupy their position to observe that. And thank you once again for this wonderful mission, both to OneWeb as well as NSIL, for enabling us to do this tonight. Thank you so much.
And there we have it. ISRO completing their first ever mission with OneWeb. Successful deployment of the first half of today's satellites. The other half will still not deploy for another about 30 minutes or so. So they're going to wrap up there. But if this was your first time here, well, thank you for joining us here at the launch pad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together, and it was great to have you all here. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that subscribe button so you never miss another live launch coverage. We're going to wrap this one up and send you on over to our other stream. We're counting down now 29 minutes, 15 seconds and counting until launch of a Roscosmos Soyuz, launching GoNets M33, 34, and 35 into orbit. So we hope you will join us for that. But for now, this is Zach from TLP Network Studios signing off. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.